It was the eerie silence that sent chills down my spine. I remember standing outside our small hut, the air thick with dread. The evening sun cast long shadows and something felt very wrong. Our stepmother had gone too far this time, and I knew we were in trouble. After our mother passed away, life changed completely. Our stepmother moved in with us, and her kindness was a mask. At first, we hoped she would treat us like family, but it didn't take long for her true colors to show. She would scream at us for the smallest mistakes, calling us worthless and blaming us for everything that went wrong. I often heard her saying, "You are nothing without your mother. You will never be anyone." My brother and I would wake up early to do chores, fetch water, cook, and clean. While we worked hard, our stepmother relaxed, often bragging about the money she spent on herself. My heart would ache as I watched her wear new clothes and adorn herself with jewelry while we wore tattered rags. One night, exhausted from a long day, I overheard her talking to someone. Her voice was low and sneering. "Those kids will never get anywhere. They're nothing but a burden. I'll make sure they suffer." I felt a cold wave of fear wash over me. I didn't know it yet, but that was the moment everything would change. Soon after, strange things began to happen. It started with a loud crash at night, rattling the windows. Our stepmother would wake up confused and angry, not at the strange sounds, but at us. "You scared me. You'll pay for this," she would yell. But my brother and I knew we weren't doing anything wrong. Then one day I was sent to the village to sell some bananas. On the way, I met an old man who looked wise and sad. He warned me, "Your stepmother's heart is ugly, and soon she will reap what she sows." I didn't understand what he meant, but it filled me with a strange fear. Days turned into weeks, and my brother and I kept our heads down, afraid to cross our stepmother. But on one stormy night, everything changed. The winds howled and rain poured down like a waterfall. Our stepmother's anger flared uncontrollably. I remember her shouting at us, blaming us for the weather. Suddenly, a loud clap of thunder shook the house. In that moment, the walls seemed to tremble, and a dark figure appeared in the doorway. It was the same old man from the village. With a booming voice, he said, "Enough! You have tormented these innocent children for too long." Our stepmother's face turned pale as she backed away, her bravado gone. I, I don't mean it. They are useless," she stammered. The old man raised his hand, and the room filled with a blinding light. He spoke words I couldn't understand, and then suddenly our stepmother was gone. A powerful silence fell over the hut. When dawn arrived, my brother and I woke up to find everything in the hut had changed. Our old worn-out belongings were replaced with new bright things. The painful memories of our stepmother faded into whispers. We ventured into the village and discovered that everyone had heard the legend of the old man. He was known for righting wrongs. Over the years, we prospered. I found joy in helping others and learned skills that made me stand out. My brother excelled in school, becoming well-respected in the community. I often thought about our stepmother and hoped she learned her lesson. In the end, karma had a way of catching up to those who mistreat others. The old man saved us, and from that day on, we promised to never let anyone's arrogance bring us down again. Sometimes in the quiet moments, I can still feel the sting of her words, but now they only remind me of how far we've come. And sometimes when the storm clouds gather, I find myself looking toward the horizon, knowing justice often comes when you least expect it. After we found our new life filled with opportunities, I often thought about our stepmother. Did she really understand what she had lost? Had the old man taught her any lessons? Part of me wanted to forgive and forget, but another part of me knew that what she had done to us was unforgivable. As the years passed, my brother and I became well known in our village. We were respected for our hard work and determination, but lingering in the back of my mind was the memory of our stepmother and the fear she instilled in us. One day I heard whispers in the marketplace. People were talking about a woman who appeared near the old tree at the edge of the village. They said she looked worn and tired, with hollow eyes and a sad heart. Intrigued, I decided to investigate. As I approached the tree, I caught sight of her. It was our stepmother. Wrinkled and gray-haired, she looked nothing like the woman who once tormented us. She seemed lost and weary, as if the weight of her past had finally caught up to her. "Please," she called out weakly, "have mercy on me." At first, I felt anger bubbling inside me. How could she come here, asking for forgiveness after everything? But as I looked into her eyes, I couldn't deny that she seemed different. The arrogance that once filled her was gone, replaced by a haunting sorrow. I couldn't just ignore her. "Why are you here?" I asked hesitantly. She took a deep breath, her frail body shaking, and replied, "I was lost for many years. I've wandered away from my home, and I've faced trials of my own. I've been punished for how I treated you two." Her story poured out like a broken dam. She spoke of her loneliness, of losing friends who once admired her. She told me that her wealth had vanished, and all that remained was regret. "I realize now that I was cruel and wrong," she said, her voice trembling. "I thought power and wealth would make me happy, but they only isolated me." My heart felt heavy. I had wanted her to suffer, to feel the pain she caused us. But seeing her like this, it was hard to only feel anger. I thought about the old man's words and the lessons we learned. "Do you want to change?" I asked cautiously. She nodded, tears pooling in her eyes. "I am ready to make amends, to seek forgiveness. I've learned the hard way." It was a long moment of silence as I weighed my options. The memories of her harsh words flooded back, yet I remembered how God had lifted us up, even when we were at our lowest. Finally, I sighed. "If you truly want to change, I will help you, but it won't be easy, and you must show sincerity." She nodded eagerly. "I will do whatever it takes." So we started small. I began introducing her to the villagers. Many were hesitant, anger still lingering from the past. But my brother and I stood by her, reminding everyone of the importance of forgiveness. Slowly, she began to help us in the community, fetching water, cooking for the elders, and learning humility. With time, she started rebuilding her relationships. Watching her transform felt surreal. I realized I was not just seeing a change in her. I was also finding peace within myself. Seasons changed, and after months of hard work, the villagers began to accept her. They still looked at her cautiously, but they noticed her dedication. One evening as the sun set, we held a gathering to celebrate our community's unity. In a quiet moment, our stepmother stood up, her voice shaky but steady. "I want to apologize to everyone I've hurt. I was blind to the pain I caused, and I ask for your forgiveness." The villagers exchanged glances, unsure of what to do. Then unexpectedly, one elder stepped forward. "We've all made mistakes. If we can forgive, we can heal." With those words, murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Tears filled my stepmother's eyes, and for the first time, I saw her smile as a genuine gesture of humility. After that night, my stepmother became an integral part of the village, often sharing stories of her mistakes and what she learned from them. It felt remarkable to see her grow into someone kinder, gentler, and more understanding. As for us, we had forgiven her, yet we never forgot the lessons we learned along the way. The darkness of our past became a guide to brighter paths ahead. In the end, the village flourished, united by resilience, reminding us all that sometimes even the most arrogant hearts can find redemption. As the village flourished, so did the bond between my brother, our stepmother, and me. We became a family in the truest sense, though the shadows of our past still lingered like a distant echo. One cool autumn morning, as leaves painted the ground in hues of gold and crimson, I received a letter from a distant relative. It mentioned a family gathering that was to take place at our ancestral home, the very place we had fled so many years ago. The address sent a chill down my spine. It was the house we had once called home before our lives crumbled under our stepmother's oppressive rule. My brother and I exchanged worried glances. "Should we go?" he asked, uncertainty etched on his face. Our stepmother, who had been knitting nearby, looked up, her hands pausing mid-stitch. "I believe you should," she said softly. "That house holds memories, both good and bad. Perhaps facing it together could bring you closure." Her words were wise, yet I still felt a surge of anxiety. What if the darkness of our past crept back into our lives? But something deep inside me knew that the healing journey couldn't end here. We had made great strides, and perhaps this reunion was another step toward acknowledging our history. With a mixture of excitement and dread, we decided to attend the gathering. We packed our bags, filling them with enough food to share, as well as gifts for the relatives we hadn't seen in years. I hesitated but also included a small token, the pendant the old man had gifted us. It still felt like a strong reminder of our journey. As we approached our ancestral home, my heart raced. The house stood resilient, a testament to time, yet there was something different about it. It no longer felt like the dark, oppressive fortress I remembered. It seemed to yearn for connection, much like the three of us. When we entered, the fragrance of freshly baked bread and sweet pies wafted through the air. Relatives we hadn't seen in ages embraced us warmly, and soon laughter echoed throughout the rooms. But all the while, an undertone of trepidation lingered within me. I knew there were still unresolved feelings and tensions. As the gathering continued, I noticed our stepmother quietly watching the interactions. She was both an outsider and a participant. She soon found herself speaking with an older cousin who had always been fond of her in our childhood days. Their conversation sparked a light in her eyes, showing that bridges could be built where once there were only walls. Just as I began to relax, a shadow broke the joy of the evening. One of our relatives, a distant aunt, began recounting tales of our childhood, highlighting the more difficult moments we faced. The laughter faded, and I felt the air grow heavy. This was it. All those questions we had tried to bury were rising back to the surface. "Why did you leave?" she asked bluntly, her voice piercing the soft laughter. "You could have tried harder. You could have made things work." Gas rippled through the crowd and I felt my cheeks burn. I glanced at my brother, who looked equally unsettled. But before I could respond, our stepmother stood up, her frail frame steadying in determination. "I take full responsibility," she declared, her voice firm yet vulnerable. "I was a foolish woman, blinded by my own pride and insecurities. I pushed my children away, and in doing so, I lost myself." The room fell silent. I watched our relatives exchange glances, some surprised at her honesty, others skeptical. But she continued, "I am not proud of those days, but I have learned from them. I've come to realize that family is not just a word, it's a bond that takes effort, forgiveness, and love to maintain." My heart swelled with admiration. I knew this was the moment of truth, for her and for us. I stepped forward, drawing strength from her words. "We did what we had to do to survive, but together as a family, we are working to heal. And that begins by embracing our past, not running from it." Slowly, the tension began to lift, and murmurs of agreement swept through the crowd. Relatives began to share their own stories of pain, struggles in the past they had taken. One by one, barriers fell as we connected over our shared humanity. As the gathering resumed, laughter erupted once again, and the evening danced back to a joyful rhythm. I could see our stepmother forging new connections, seeking to mend what had been broken. It was beautiful to witness, a symbol of resilience and the endless possibility of change. The sun began to set outside the window, casting a warm golden light over us, illuminating the path ahead. Together, we were redefining what it meant to be a family, choosing forgiveness, understanding, and love. That night, as we all gathered around the fireplace, I felt a sense of peace that I never thought possible. The ghosts of the past had begun to fade, and in their place, a glorious new story was being written, one filled with hope, resilience, and the promise of brighter tomorrows. As the warmth of the fireplace wrapped around us like a comforting blanket, I felt the weight of the past starting to lift, replaced by the joyous energy of the present. The stories flowed freely, and with each tale shared, we restructured our very identities. The laughter of family, mixed with the crackles of the fire, created a symphony of connection that enveloped the room. In that moment, I looked around and saw not just relatives, but warriors of their own stories, each person carrying their own scars, yet willing to expose them to the light. I could see in our stepmother's eyes a flicker of hope. I could sense her determination to be part of this tapestry as we rewove the threads of our family's legacy. The night grew deeper, and our conversation shifted from past grievances to future dreams. A cousin I'd always admired spoke passionately about her travels and the different cultures she'd encountered. "We can't be defined by our past," she asserted. "We're a patchwork of experiences, and it's time we create new memories." This struck a chord within me. I turned to my brother. "What if we planned a family reunion every year? not just for holidays, but to create new traditions. We could travel, experience life together, really embrace what it means to be a family. His face lit up. That's a brilliant idea. We can gather stories from everyone and compile them. Imagine a family book where future generations can remember where they came from. Our stepmother smiled softly, her eyes glimmering with unshed tears. I'd like to contribute to that, she added. If the past is a part of us, then let's honor it while making new stories to share. As the evening wore on and the stories continued, I felt an electric charge in the air, a mix of nostalgia and renewed purpose. I realized that healing wasn't just about facing our past. It was also about envisioning a future we could shape together. Just when I thought the evening couldn't get any better, the moment came when a distant uncle, a man I barely remembered, stood up and announced that he had a surprise. He rushed out and came back holding an old photo album, its leather cover worn, but cherished. This, he declared, is a collection of our family's history. Some of these stories should not only be told, but celebrated. With everyone gathered around, he began flipping through the pages, revealing black and white photographs of laughter, love, and life events that showcased our family's journey through the years. I saw my father as a young man, full of hope, joy illuminating his smile. I saw moments of celebration, weddings, births, birthdays, proof that even amidst darkness, the light had existed. As we shared memories sparked by the photos, something inside me shifted. The realization dawned that while pain had carved deep channels in our lives, joy had also shaped us in profound ways. But then the mood shifted again, when an unexpected picture caught my eye. A photo of the house we were in now, taken decades ago. It looked so full of life, yet I noticed the familiar shadows from when it had been a place of turmoil. I remember this snapshot. It was taken during one of our family games, my cousin noted. That day ended in laughter until the night fell. A somber silence fell over the group, and I felt it. It was time to acknowledge the duality of our memories, to declare that while we could reclaim our story, we couldn't forget the hardships. We can turn this house into a sanctuary, I proposed, nervously yet determined, a place where we can come together each year, not only to remember, but to heal and support each other. Each gathering could intentionally honor both the pain and the joy in our history. Inspired murmurs filled the air as everyone weighed in on the idea. Slowly, encouragement erupted. Plans began forming for renovations, for events, for ways to expand our connection beyond just shared blood, creating bonds formed by understanding, compassion, and growth. As the fire began to dim, we spent a final reflective moment together. I felt a sense of fulfillment, unlike anything I had experienced before. We ended the night under the stars, a night sky sprawling above us, filled with shimmering possibilities. There in that serene atmosphere, I realized that we were no longer just a group of individuals with a shared past, but rather a family nurtured by dreams and hopes for the future, a renewed legacy we could shape together. With my heart full, I silently promised to honor our journey, embracing every memory, the joyful, the painful. And I felt a profound gratitude, thankful for my brother, our stepmother, and every family member who chose love over fear, unity over division. The following years would be filled with challenges, laughter, and growth. We would encounter obstacles and moments of struggle, but armed with the knowledge of our past, we would approach each day resolved to create a brighter tomorrow for ourselves and for generations to come. In the end, we would learn that home isn't just a place, it's where love resides, where we take our past and weave it into an ever-evolving narrative, one thread at a time. With the sounds of the night wrapping around us like a gentle embrace, we took our final moments in. Each star twinkling in the vast expanse above felt like a promise, a vow to embrace the future with open arms. As we stood there together, hearts resonating with possibilities, we understood that our journey was just beginning. Months turned into years as we diligently brought our vision to life. The home underwent renovations, transforming from a place haunted by echoes of the past into a vibrant sanctuary overflowing with laughter and love. Every reunion became a tapestry woven with threads of shared stories and new memories, each gathering a celebration of who we were and who we were becoming. Each year, shaped by those first tender seeds of healing, we grew closer and stronger. New traditions blossomed, from family game nights to shared meals featuring recipes handed down through generations. We created a family book filled with not just photographs, but the stories behind each snapshot, honoring our family's legacy while ensuring that future generations would carry that spirit of togetherness forward. As I flipped through the pages of our book one afternoon, I stumbled upon a newfound resilience within myself. I had become the storyteller, the keeper of our collective memories. It was a cherished role I held dear, allowing me to bridge the gap between old wounds and new hopes. Our gatherings became much more than mere events. They evolved into a living history. Tales of overcoming adversity emerged, new legends were born, and laughter even brought friends into our fold, a testament to how love can expand boundaries. As we continued this journey, I began to see the beauty of forgiveness. The darkness that once loomed over our family transformed into a light that illuminated our path. I learned that healing is not linear. It's messy and complicated, yet profoundly beautiful. The years passed in a blur of joyous reunions, connections deepening and our love unwavering. There were challenges, of course, moments of misunderstanding and friction, but each time we found our way back. We became skilled at opening our hearts, at listening. On one particularly poignant anniversary of our family's first gathering, we gathered in the backyard of our cherished home, now filled with laughter and vitality. Together we shared a moment of silence for those we had lost, acknowledging that their memories lived on with us. Then, one by one, we shared our hopes for the future. As I stood amongst my family, I felt a surge of gratitude wash over me. We had journeyed through both light and darkness together and, in doing so, had forged unbreakable bonds. In that moment, I realized we had become more than family. We had become each other's champions. We had chosen to rise above our struggles, to weave love into our narrative, creating a legacy of resilience and unity. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden hue over our gathering, I knew this was home. With hearts full and spirits soaring, we gathered together, a mosaic of every experience shared, a testament to the power of love, leaving behind a story that would be told for generations to come, a story of healing, connection, and the enduring strength of family.